I am Shazam. Wait, wrong movie. Hello everyone, thank you for watching. This is the movie Maniac. Today we're talking about the newest movie in the DCEU called Shazam. And I want to go ahead and get right out the gate with this because, you never know where this entire DCEU is heading. So let's just get right to it, okay? I thought the humor in Shazam was very effective, at least when it turned into a comedy film. We'll get to that in a moment. The entire cast fits so perfectly into their roles. I don't think there was a single actor who seemed miscast or needed improvement. Shazam's costume does look a little silly, but the movie knows it and embraces it. I will say, however, that there are some scenes with the villain that feel very cartoonish, especially when he's flying around, but all of that is largely made up for due to the 7 deadly sins demons that surround him and go with him, follow him wherever he goes. They're terrifying, they're menacing, they're not kid-friendly. It's exactly what I want to see from a concept like this. I want to get back to something I teased at earlier about the comedy in this film, because one thing I thought was a little odd was for the first 30 to 45 minutes, tonally, this picture was way off. You look at the trailers and you're in for a superhero comedy, but for that duration of the movie, my entire theater hardly laughed at all. There was a couple of ha here and there very quietly, and I was in a packed house. But what happens is within that first 30-45 minutes, we're setting up the story. There's a lot of actual sort of horror elements in it, which I loved. But then it would go to the superhero origin story of setting everyone up. And while none of it was particularly bad, it felt like everything in it was just comedic relief. Not from a comedy film, but just to lighten the tone. And then once that 30-45 minutes is out of the way, we get the film that we're promised from the trailers. And then my entire theater was on board. They were laughing consistently. They were laughing hard. They were fully invested. And I gotta tell you, I think that was not deliberate. I don't believe the filmmakers set out to make the first act of the movie that way. I think that was a mistake, and I'm sure there are some of you that will disagree with me. Whenever it comes to these comic book films, there are always people who disagree with me, whether I like it, whether I dislike it, whether I'm a fan, but I had an issue here or there. So you don't have to agree with me. If you feel it's otherwise, that's fine. Nobody's saying anyone's right or wrong. I do think this was a pleasing entry in the DCEU. I never quite know where they're going to go from one movie to the next. That kind of keeps it exciting, to be honest with you. And I'm not going to say that it has to be that way. I think a lot of it is them trying to improve on what they're doing, responding to feedback from their previous entries, and just constantly, I don't know, maybe course correct, or thinking that each film needs a different vibe to it. I can't truly answer that, and I'm sure there are plenty of people that have their perspective on it, and that's great. But it was nice to go into Shazam and get more of a light movie. And that's a good way to describe this film, is it's not, aside from those scenes with the demons that are the 7 deadly sins, I mean, that's pretty heavy, I'll be honest with you. I don't think parents are expecting to take their kids into a movie that gets as dark as Shazam does at certain times. At nowhere in the trailer would you get that impression, and I think that if you have a young kid who maybe is easily scared, this might not be the film for him, if you even care about that. There are mentions of Batman and Superman existing in their world, but this really is a self-contained film, and the DCEU has been really good about that lately, just kind of making these insulated superhero movies without trying to world build too much. And any world building that is in Shazam, it's kind of done in a fun way. It's done almost as a joke. So here's the deal with Shazam. I don't think you need to rush to your local Cineplex to see this film. If you do, though, you're going to have a fun time. You will be entertained. I think you'll be satisfied leaving the theater. I almost imagine this working better, though, as a night in whether this is a Redbox rental or you watch it through your favorite streaming service, however you access it. And that way, I think you will be really pleasantly surprised, because I know that there's probably not the hype around this particular entry that there would be around a Batman or a Superman or a Harley Quinn type picture. And that's, so discovering it on your own that way, look, I understand. April is turning into the new May in terms of summer films. A few years ago, April was the month where Hollywood would take their big studio films that they thought were going to be these massive summer blockbusters, and when they realized that they weren't going to be, they would throw them in April. But the way this year's looking, you have a lot of different films to choose from to put your hard-earned money down at the box office and in pictures that people are liking. This is not sort of throwaway or it's way too much of a genre movie, so we got to ditch it in April, whatever it might be. This is actually shaping up to be just as powerful as May. So instead of April being the wick that's lit that then gets to the dynamite, which becomes May, this is the explosion going off right away. So that's why I say I don't think you have to go to the theater to see this film. With all that being said, I am going to give this a 6.5 out of 10. I'm going to give it a thumbs up. I'm not going to give it a, whoa, 2 thumbs up, go see this right away, this is the big surprise of the year. It's not, but there are some issues. It's not a perfect movie, and that's okay. Not everything has to be. So what did you think of Shazam? Do you feel like it's the best DCEU movie so far? Do you think that it really wasn't, a viable entry into the universe? Where are you on this one? I'd be curious to hear. And make sure to like the video, punch that subscribe button, leave that comment, and you can stay inside the mind of a movie maniac.